this day. It's a chilly morning. We have some frost on the ground, but it's already warming up. Already warming up. There's the green light. Have to look into the green light. Find the answers there. At the very least, you'll find some healing. Let's begin. I set forth in prayer for these words and these steps to benefit the highest good of all involved. All who listen, all who seek, may your answers be given. On this day of resurrection, we are all born again. Let's be born again today. Come walk with me through the world today. You'll find a way. through the pains we had. And when we find the truth and we breathe it in, we will always know how we've been born again. Oh, I feel my life is here and now, here and now with you. I feel the sun in spring. Before you laugh out loud, before you criticize, take a look in my eyes and see. Look at the green light. It brings the healing inside out. I feel the truth lifting up right now. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. 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 Vamos de paseo en un coche nuevo. Vamos a caminar por el resto of these days. Vamos de paseo in the woods. It's the day of your rejoining. Oh, sing and rejoice, for the sun is here. There's no choice, it must always rise. As you look inside, as you judge the things you couldn't find. Oh, so why am I still an old man here, taking my steps forward as I wipe my tears? It's for the children of the world, those without their dad. I want you to know I'm here. You have your Father with you today. Father's with you today. I am with you today. Your Father's with you today. My love, my love, holding on to the stream, my love. My love, my love. Holding on to the stream, my love, my love. It's never ending, it seems, my love, my love. I'm holding on to the stream, my love, my love. It's never ending, it seems, my love, my love. about fear today. Think about how many people were fearful when they saw Jesus of Nazareth come out of this grotto and the rock moved. Think about it. How scared and nervous the world must have been. When he stepped out, resurrected, healed, reborn, brought to life, animated. Experiencing a second birth in one life. What do you do with such a thing? Why would you ever fear such harmony? Why would you ever fear this? I don't know. Not really my place to know. It's my place to respect your freedom. That's my place. It's my place to be in a safe environment where I'm loved. That's for sure. That's not too much to ask. Not too much to ask. Perhaps you may recall about 3 or 4 minutes ago the sound of a car accelerating. I knew that car. I know who it belongs to. I know the driver. That driver had fear on her face. Watching me, watch her. It's a tough thing to be caught. You know, the thing is, if you're caught, it's like finding someone that's just stolen something from you. When you're watched by someone who you don't consent to watch you, that is theft of peace. It's theft. It's trespassing. Why not just walk? Why not create? Why not sing? Why wait for someone else to make fun of? Why wait for someone else to create? And then you have to stop asking why. You have to stop asking that question because it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve anyone. Not today. Not anymore. My love. My love. There's the return call. Listen. Listen. Yeah, it's over there. There's a difference between waiting for something and being still. Being still means there's no urgency, there's no lack, there's no need. Waiting for something is negative faith that you're missing something, that there's some piece that's not there that you need, whether it's taking it from someone else or leaning on someone for the sake of not having it. You cannot take and you cannot lean and be happy. It just doesn't work. But who am I? I'm just a homeless man, right? I'm just a homeless man. What do I know? All I know is you can't lean and you can't take and be a happy person. It doesn't work. You can pretend. You can assume that you are in a good place as well and keep waiting. Or you can be still. You can finally be still. What is it you want? It's the question instead of why. What is so missing that it must be sought out from another? What is so scarce that it must be taken? Is peace in scarcity here in the woods? Why don't you tell me? Have a look. Is this chaos? Or is this order in the form of peace? Leave it to you to decide. Here are the tarot cards from today and shall be the meditation. Keep looking at the green light to make sure I'm a wise cameraman. One-man production team. Actually, it's a two-man production team. Actually, it's a one-man production team. I'm not really part of the production. I'm part of the audience. Here are the cards from today. Let's look. Let's take a look. Have a good look. Because in a moment I'm going to turn this page so I can read it. So as not to try to read like Leonardo da Vinci. No sense in doing something I'm not familiar with. Unless, of course, I want to learn. Unless, of course, it interests me. There's an apparent roadblock in your life, presented in the form of the Eight of Wands. This is the portal in which you start your day. The question is, what do you plan on doing with it now that the roadblock is here? Do you give up? Do you barrel into it? Do you stop? Do you negotiate? What other option is there? There's one more option. You can surrender, but not give up. You can surrender to the source that pumps blood through your veins. You can surrender to the breath that fuels it. You can surrender to the 50 trillion cells that compose of your temple, your body. You can surrender to Source. That's not giving up. That's freedom. And through that, you shall never want, not a single day of your life. Not a single day. There are folks walking, so I'm not going to film that way. The Eight of Wands, while it appears to be a roadblock, is not a roadblock. It is, in fact, liberation. You are moving fast. It's the second fastest card in the deck. Just aside from the Chariot. That's the fastest card, and then the Eight of Wands is the second fastest. And what it represents is movement. Movement. Followed by the Four of Coins. And the Four of Coins, stable assets, a secure position, for sure. So whatever it is that you feel may be blocking you, preventing you from achieving, is in fact a blessing in disguise. You have to look at a sequence of cards in order for there to be a better understanding of one individual card. And so in this case, with the Eight of Wands being perceived as a roadblock, once you receive the Four of Coins as the first card, you understand that that is temporary. Most things in life are temporary. So just remember that. Whatever disturbances, whatever distortions, whatever difficulties may be in your life, it's temporary. So you can rest assured in that. What follows is the Knight of Swords, and when you have anything that's dealing with swords, like I spoke with yesterday, you're dealing with something that is based in air. Good morning. Hello. You're dealing with something that is intellectual, it's intelligence-based. So just know that this is designed for you to see a sequence of movement that you must go through. In this case, we have 7 cards. Those are the same folks from yesterday. I've only seen them twice, yesterday and today. I've been walking here for many, many months. It's good to see new people come here. I mean that. Let's send blessings. Send blessings. Imagine the goodness that they're seeking come into their lives, or perhaps they're not seeking for anything. Better for us to just let it go. Lots of movement today on Easter Sunday. Lots of movement. That's good. And all of this is designed to test you. We are being tested. Your peace is found in the woods because the home is not peaceful. And so, you're being tested. New person, yet again. Let's just go through the list of cards, and then I'm going to read to you the definitions in accordance to the Marseille Tarot, which I believe is the most accurate. Understanding that when I read, I'm looking for something positive in every card. If you're not looking for something positive in every reading, in every card that you pull, in every statement that you make to the querent, who is the person asking for answers, then you are providing a disservice. As tempting as it may be to gossip and talk about others, and I've even done it, I'm guilty as charged. However, when you walk in the same place that's your sanctuary, that's a monastery, these woods are a monastery to me now. I've walked them every single day, unless otherwise I'm serving family. I walk this every day, every morning, and I have since October of 2022. Today is Easter 2023, April 9th. So aside from the seasonal changes, when I see differences in who's coming through and who's observing, who's pretending to not see you, or who is sincere in not seeing you, whatever the story is, it has nothing to do with you. Just know that. It has nothing to do with you. People will make their own decisions in life, and you have to stick with your faith. You have to stick with your belief that you will have peace, uninterrupted. I mean, imagine how flustered you would be as a YouTuber. Imagine if someone were to come by and say a single word to you, or if there were even a person walking to walk by. You'd end the recording and then go home in a huff and likely be frustrated. That just doesn't serve you. All the same, these are individuals that have millions of subscribers. That's a responsibility. It's a great responsibility to have millions of subscribers. You become a preacher, whether you know it or not. Whether you see yourself as a social influencer, you're a preacher. And what you preach is what will be consumed and what will be repeated back to others. And so before I have an audience, I'm considering this deeply. And then again, 7-8 months of continuous walking generates a magnetic charge. And that magnetic charge draws in like-minded individuals, people who are seeking the same thing. If you see the good in the folks watching you, instead of thinking they're spying on you, instead of being hyper-vigilant, they become like the singing birds. Everyone has a purpose that's unique, and they wish to be part of a community with you. See the good before anything else. So let's do some reading here. First things first, I'll read to you about the Eight of Wands from the Marseille. Which, by the way, the Eight of Wands is often considered a very auspicious card, and in the Marseille, it's probably more negative than anything else. So I have a tendency to abridge the version for myself and make it very positive. It's a high, fast-moving card. And you have to forgive me, as this is navigating a book with one hand. So we'll just take our time. We'll just take our time. Eight of Wands. Regulation. It's possible to advance. It's possible to move through the roadblock only by following the rules. So someone's presenting rules to you. Some element of life is presenting rules to you. Perhaps it's a change of thought. Perhaps it's a new form of meditation. Whatever it is, the only way through it is to conform. So while this is happening, you have an occupation with short-term goals while losing the long-term perspective. Don't worry about being lost or feeling lost for a moment. We all veer off the path. As we veer off the path, we also seek union with the truth of who we are, which is always the good. It's always the positive. It's always the reaffirming. It's always the expansive, supportive, generous self. This is the natural state of being. So if you see this in others, you shall invite this into your life, and it will remove the roadblocks. So if we're looking at this world as if it's out to get us, as if there are enemies lurking, and if you exacerbate this story by gossiping and telling others about how you feel this is true, you will find right away that it is very contagious, and that individuals will find entertainment in that. However, it is not at all healthy, not at all good for you. The only way it can be good for you is if you rewrite it. Rewrite the story of the individuals that you have accused of having some sort of a negative impact in your life. The beauty is you can always rewrite these stories. That's why we have an imagination. It is your nation of images that are rewritten for the sake of your peace, prosperity, well-being, and goodness. And you must tap into it in order to have good come to your life. It leaves a residual effect, much like the addictive complaint mechanism that is automatic, and we fall back to it a lot. Once the good starts to generate itself in your environment, you can count on it repeating, unless, of course, you desire it to change. The only way it will change is if you entertain something that is negative. So we are in a process of rewriting the images of our past so that they serve not only us, but the highest good of everyone involved. Understanding Newton's law, for every action there is an opposite and equal reaction. That which we give, we shall receive. That which we plant or sow, we reap. That distance between the time of sowing seed and reaping is the system of faith. The system of faith can only occur in a healthy way by using the imagination and the light of love. The light of love requires you to become like a child. For the Lord said, only once you become like a child may you enter the kingdom of heaven. And the kingdom of heaven is within. It is in the center of who you are. It's not a physical thing. It is an imagination, a nation of images of good, which you are reprogramming, rewriting, and bringing into the light of truth for the sake of your own salvation. And this is what it's like to become Christ-like. This is how you anoint yourself in love. It must be first done from within, and then it expresses itself without. So the Eight of Wands gives you a plan for advancement. That plan requires some rewriting. Rewriting in the light of love for the benefit of all those in your surroundings. So anytime you've been slighted by someone, anytime you've accused someone, anytime you've been accused, go back to that story that you once heard and rewrite it as if you were a child seeking the reaffirmation of your own parents, of your father, who only wishes to protect you, and of your mother, who only wishes to see your garden grow. This is how you rewrite your past. You must dive in to the world of the imagination. It is the nation of images which you rewrite, and you have no limitation as far as what you can rewrite. Access to time and space, any year, any place, any time, any situation. You can instantaneously go to it now, imagine those people involved, and rewrite it. And that's what we're doing today, so we can remove the roadblocks of our past and be reborn. This is how we become Christ realized. This is communion. Communion is showing patronage to your imagination. and it comes at no cost. This gift, the gift of the imagination, everything that is available to you in time and space, it comes at no cost other than the energy that you put in with the mind. So anyone can do it. It doesn't require you to have any physical ability. All it requires is thought. So there's no excuse. It's free. It requires thought. And in order for you to choose thought, you must be conscious. This consciousness is provided to you by God. So just be grateful. Be grateful for this conscious experience right now. It's provided to you by the sponsor of your life, that gives you all the sounds here in the woods, that gives you everything. The wind, all the sound, the people walking, those who are enjoying their lives, everything, down to the beating of your heart, provided by God. 4 of coins. Let's dive in. Hear the carpenters at work. They're also singing songs while they work, and they're building families. How many of us build families anymore? We're supposed to lift them up, we're supposed to build them. Seems like we're just leaning on them and dragging them down and beating them. If you find that's happening, choose not to take part. Just remove yourself from it. It serves no purpose in trying to fix it. You can't strong-arm the lives of others and expect there to be change for the better. You can't do that. That's called interference. That's called trespassing. And we hear in the Lord's Prayer, forgive us for trespassing, right? As we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation to do it again. Deliver us from this evil. For the kingdom and the power and the glory are yours. None of this is yours. I'm saying your ego self. None of this is your ego. All of this belongs to God. The kingdom, the power, and the glory, all of it belongs to God. So just be aware of that. Just be aware of that. So when we say, lead us not into temptation, it's to say, use the imagination to rewrite the story so as not to return to that which is before you and blame it for your dismay. That is to trespass upon this world, which is God's creation. You are in no place to run a plan over God's plan. But so many of us feel like we must plan out our lives. So many of us feel like we must take action in a way that interferes because there's a sense of urgency. All of this is trespassing. The sooner you learn this and let go and allow the process of love to overwhelm your life, you will feel blissful contact with God and you will feel peace. And you will offer peace to your environment. And you will be one with this source, and it will serve you as an instrument of God. You become an instrument of God when you surrender to this source. When you forgive yourself for trespassing and you forgive those who have trespassed against you. You put down the temptation because it's an error. It's evil. It's illusion. The fact that you feel an urgency so much to interfere with God's plan is willful ignorance. It serves nothing but your ego. And I think we've well established by now that the ego is quite sick. Our ego self is quite sick. But it wants you to believe that the rest of the world is sick. It wants you to believe that others are sick. It wants you to believe that some force that you're opposed to is sick. It will never take responsibility for its own actions and it will never apologize for them. So you must knock it down a few notches and just offer it love. At the same time, take control over your life by saying, you're fired. You have to fire your ego. And this is what we're talking about when we talk about this rebirth, when we talk about the resurrection. It's a rebirth after you've been born. You've lived a life. You've experienced the pains. You've experienced the hardships. And now you realize that you're not a good skipper. You're not a good captain. You're not good at managing these things. You're not good at planning. And so you just surrender it all to the source that does it right. And it's quite a liberating feeling. You'll never have to worry about what people think of you. And as you rewrite the history of your past and offer love to everyone around you, you will see the expressions of this come forth. The time between now and then is the same time between a seed and its harvest. It requires faith that the process is underway. Would you go into a garden and interfere with a seedling? Say, come on, seedling, you need to grow. I'm waiting for my harvest. I'm hungry. Come on, seedling. No. Would you rip it out and say, oh, this isn't working? No. You let it be. And by offering it this freedom, you are offering yourself love. We are all here with a deep responsibility to manage the gardens of our lives. So many of us don't even realize there is a garden that we are here to manage. We're just too busy stepping on everybody else's. Too busy interfering. It's trespassing. Anytime you think to yourself, well, I was just trying to help. I was only trying to help. My love is misunderstood. No. Your love's not so much misunderstood as you are veering off a path where you think you're in the right. At the same time, people are just walking on the continuous path of love and wondering if you'd like to come back, wondering when you'd like to return to show that real version of you that is lovely, kind, generous, giving, and most of all, forgiving. Forgiveness is the greatest form of love you can offer yourself and others. If there ever was an example, it's through the crucifixion of Christ, and here we are on the day of his resurrection, and it seems the lessons need to continue. Though I pray we get it this time. I pray we get it this year. This is the start of a year today. 4 of coins. Stability. Solid material assets. Imagine it. If it's not in your pocketbook, if it's not in your wallet, you better imagine it. There's no sense in imagining the other thing because it's just going to manifest. Why take money from your wallet when you can easily put it in through your mind? Do it. Fill it up. Fill it up full of bills, but the good ones, the ones that get you things, not the ones that you have to pay. Anytime you feel overwhelmed with a bill, just say, this bill is paid in the now by divine right. I accept this as it is the truth. There are no debts in this world that can be created by man. The only debt is created by God. So anyone who comes to you and says you owe a debt, they're speaking in illusion. There's no real debt. There's only expansion. Yet we convince ourselves that we owe all the time. And we'll be constantly reminded until we reject it. So reject the bill. See yourself as having paid it in its entirety by divine right. This is your choice for the peace that it offers you. So do it. Imagine paying the bill and then move on. You have shown some form of repetition. Whatever it is that you've done, there's an honor, there's a respect that comes with it. So whatever it is you've been focusing on, you now have respect for it. And as a result, you have proven over time that you are a consistent, hardworking individual that is creative and most of all, good in mind, body, and spirit. You probably will have some form of interaction with an established social institution, and in that case, continue. Don't let anything stop the process of creation, for it's your highest good. Next card is the Knight of Swords. You have the energy and resources to advance forward, moving forward. You're still looking for the right direction. However, you are hovering above practical constraints. You're showing determination and perseverance. This is something that we were just talking about, and it relates to the Four of Coins. So it's just more of the reassurance to keep persevering. Followed by that comes the Ace of Swords, and I had spoken about aces yesterday. The ace represents the beginning of a cycle, something new. And what this represents is a planned initiative. Okay, just give you a little review. Read it for yourself, okay? And I'll read it to you. So it's a planned initiative in which you're showing rational and logical thinking. You have a sharpness of mind. A conclusive decision has been made. Now, what that's regarding most likely is your wish fulfillment, unless you fear it, unless you're fearing something. The idea is to overcome your fears so that this conclusive decision benefits you. You're showing a readiness to fight, to defend your position. You're showing ambition, competitiveness, which can be a double-edged sword. Sometimes competitiveness removes your ability to cooperate with others. So you want to be cooperative. All the same, it represents a victory with stable achievements. The victory has occurred. So now, what does this lead to? Leads to the center of the reading, which is the moon. This is a major arcana, number 18 in the major arcana. It's a powerful card. And it represents the subconscious, which is this deep, infinite source that is technically below consciousness, in that we have to plant something within it, like the earth, to see it be expressed. And we're constantly doing this, whether we know it or not. Okay, so this page, I believe, may have fallen out. It's hard to tell. It's a good question. I'm gonna have to do this for a second. Let's see. I need two hands for this one, because there is a, oh, here it is. Great. Yeah, I almost lost that page. How interesting. That is the hidden treasure, I imagine. Okay. Okay. We are back. All right. Needed two hands there. The moon represents deep emotions, perhaps related to a mother or feminine figure. You're having a different experience of reality. Longing for the unreachable. Finding one's hidden strengths through this continuation of reaching. You're preoccupied with the past. talkative this morning. And while you're preoccupied with the remote past, as we are rewriting the past, it presents to you a hidden treasure. So the hidden treasures lie in the rewriting of the past. That's the center of your reading today. Focus on it. Okay. What's next? The hermit. Going within, reflecting, going deep, going into your cave. And you'll notice with the hermit, if you have a chance to look at this, I'll likely put up the image at some point, you'll see that the hermit is holding a lantern, and within that lantern is the star, which we had yesterday in the center of the reading. It represents wish fulfillment. So as the hermit is holding up this lantern that holds the source of all creation, you're reflecting on your past and also in the now to determine what it is that you desire to bring forth. Next comes the Page of Swords. We saw this yesterday. Anyone who you feel may be watching you, listening to you, not being forthright, holding secrets, withholding information, offer love. Offer love and imagine goodness coming into their life, and it shall be done. Last, we have the King of Coins. Stability with your assets. Taking a strong, solid position in a certain place, unable to budge in a lot of cases. And this falls back to the Four of Coins. These are very similar cards in their influence. So whatever it is that's going on financially in your life, whatever you're holding on to, hold on to it. But at the same time, use your imagination to reinforce the qualities of your generosity. Because until you become generous with yourself and others, you will not be able to reap the rewards that are just waiting. This is the first time I've ever seen 2 mallard ducks fly in while I've been here and not be totally frightened. And I feel so grateful. One flew away, the male flew away, the female's here. So while the female flew away, or rather while the male flew away, the female stayed, and I'm just going to be grateful and leave them so they can enjoy their breakfast. Would you like to see what's on the menu? If it's still here, I'll show it to you. Yeah, this is what's on the menu. Look at what's on the menu. Frog caviar. Most of them have sprouted, broken from their eggs, and are about to become little tadpoles. Tons of them. Literally thousands. And that serves as a pretty miraculous food source for the mallard ducks that live right across the pond there. So a lot of beautiful things happening on this day, for which I'm grateful. Let's continue our walk of gratitude. And we'll just keep moving. We'll just keep moving now. never seen a mallard duck so close in my life. They're usually very skittish. I'm just so grateful. Just grateful. Brisk this morning, but beautiful. It feels so nice to have the cold back. I had forgotten how wonderful it feels once your body warms up to it. Once you develop your sufficient brown adipose tissue, bat cells, the brown fat. Once you expose yourself to the elements enough, you develop brown fat tissue, brown adipose tissue, and it functions in a different way as far as its energy production. And instead of being an aerobic process, it becomes anaerobic. Yeah, so while normally you would shiver in order to maintain heat, you no longer need to shiver. You just stay very stable, and it feels really enjoyable to have stability with the heat of your body, with the temperature of your body, without having to shiver in order to maintain your warmth. It's just taken care of because you put in the work for your cells to adjust, and they migrate. The more you expose yourself to the cold, the faster and more frequently your fat cells migrate and become brown adipose tissue. And then you can just walk and talk without a hat, without gloves. And I mean, I still cover myself with warm clothing because I like to just generate a lot of heat. But you'll find that you'll have a warmer resting temperature. So for those who may have issues with circulation, or perhaps you're always finding your extremities are really cold and you're like, oh, I just need to warm up my hands and feet with somebody else. I find that women in particular have this issue. So the solution is to expose yourself continuously to the cold. And what it will do is give you huge benefits. Just huge rewards for it. So. That's the house alarm for the birds. They're not very happy that I'm walking past, but at least they know me. At least I'm not a stranger. Walked this a million times. So it just feels really good once you adjust to the cold. It also gives you more stability of mind. So if someone says, I'm going to take something from you, you know it's the past, and you can say, oh, this is a test. Someone says, I don't like you, or someone says, I'm afraid of you, or someone says, I don't trust you, you can say, oh, that's the past, because that doesn't feel good. So you use this measurement of, does it feel good to hear this? Does it feel good to be here? Does it feel good to be in the situation? And you'll know right away. You'll either have the answer being resoundingly yes, or like, no, I want to avoid this at all costs, like the plague. So once you know you want to avoid something for the sake of the peace that it offers you, you do it. How do you do it, though, if you can't leave your environment, if you're stuck, right? You feel like you're in prison, as many of us do. Think about the pandemic, how many of us felt imprisoned during the pandemic. Didn't you feel imprisoned? So the only thing you can do when you feel imprisoned is you have to go into the mind. So instead of letting the mind run rampant and free and in an undisciplined manner, you start to knock down your ego a few notches and discipline it. It's just like going to the gym. However, this is the gym of thought. This is the gymnasium where we reorganize and program the way that we choose thoughts and entertain them. And the result is improvement in self-improvement. Self-improvement can only be permanently done through the entertainment of positive thoughts, thoughts that are of the good, thoughts that are savory, supportive, kind, good. I love how beautiful this path is now. When I first started, it looked a lot like this. Months ago, it was not nearly as beautiful as it is now. Just look how gorgeous it is. This is the result of a daily footprint, and so let this be a lesson. If you are aware that you have a Garden of Eden within you that you need to maintain, the best way to manage these seeds is not by going and saying, oh, I need to harvest because it's, we need to eat, or this isn't worth it because look, I planted this and it's not growing, and you just give it a daily footprint. It's okay. Sometimes it's going to appear like things aren't working out, like things are difficult or challenging. Just give your daily footprint. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is, because over time, the path will form, it'll clarify, and it will serve others. You invite people to your garden, and they come in, they say, wow, this is beautiful. How did you do this? You say, well, this one took a while, or this one comes and you can get it right away. It may not be as satisfying as the one that you're talking about, but they're all beautiful in their own right. All the seeds that we've planted here are beautiful in their own right. And these are the seeds we plant in the mind. Oh, that's a hawk. Soaring up above. Beautiful. Let me show you a place that's really cool. I remember when I first found it, it was awesome. I was surprised. And if I've published these videos, I imagine I will eventually. Probably seen this place by now. But if you haven't seen it, it's quite a surprise. It's pretty cool. Look at how this root system became part of the tree itself. I mean, not just a root. So when things are exposed to light, they fortify, become like the rest of it, the tree. It's just beautiful to me that this is the tree. Look at how thin it is, and yet it has this huge system underneath. I find that pretty remarkable. Hugs and kisses. And someone played tic-tac-toe on that rock with triple X. Great. Everyone likes to play the games, you know. Witches like to play games. Just remember, witches, your external world isn't the truth of your existence. So if you're praying to deities, spirits, and what have you, you're missing the point of your truth. There's nothing in the external world that could ever compare to the truth of your existence. The imagination is your highest faculty and your greatest strength. So if you're imagining the external world as being responsible for your pain or your suffering, and you wish to impose that upon others, you're making grave errors. I spent a good number of years doing that. I went ahead and did hexes and all that, and I found my life utterly destroyed in the end. So, before that happens, I suggest you carefully put down the grimoires and make your peace with it. Now, make your peace with it. Because no spell can permeate the life of someone who has found Christ. The life of an anointed individual cannot be interfered with by external forces. Just cannot happen. However, if you are, unfortunately, a person without faith, I say it's unfortunate because you're leaving yourself exposed, kind of like placing your computer into a demilitarized zone. Anyone can access it, anyone can do what they want with it, anyone can observe it, anyone can influence it. But with faith, it's the greatest firewall you'd ever need, while at the same time it provides the DMZ. How can that be? There's a firewall up protecting you, and at the same time there's a demilitarized zone access, which is to say, how can you affect someone who's not there? How can you expect to cast a spell on someone that literally does not exist? And therein lies the rub. The spell has to go somewhere, doesn't it? So it just returns to you. Whatever the intention was. So if you're trying to do something in secret, by harnessing the powers of the earth, or what have you, it's like walking into someone's garden and planting a huge weed, expecting it to turn out well. There's no way it can turn out well. I didn't realize this for a good number of years. I cursed the individuals who brought harm to my life, wished for their demise, wished for redemption and revenge, all these things. I wished for terror to come into their lives in the form of demons and nightmares and destruction. I did. And all it did was it came back to me and destroyed my life. So, to each their own. I can only say things with so much clarity. It's just constantly hurting myself. And to think of it, you cast a spell on someone, right? What are you doing? You're casting a spell on someone that is an embodiment of the Heavenly Father, that the Heavenly Father came forth and gave you life through his image, just like everyone else. No one is exempt. So the Heavenly Father gives you life. And yet you're casting a spell to see that life corrupted in some way. It is the greatest form of trespassing that you could ever do. Whether it is, I was just trying to help, whether it is, I thought they needed love just like me, whether it is blessings, tic-tac-toe, XXX, hex, 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 whatever it is. It's interference, it's trespassing. And you're forgiven. Hear it from me. To all those who have ever cast a single spell on anybody in this world, myself included, you are forgiven. Now let's move on. Let's move on from this silliness. Find the truth in yourself. There's no necessity. There's no need. And just as I say this, you know what I noticed for the first time in these woods that I never noticed before? These pine trees. You see them? A good number of them. I'd never noticed them. They've always been here. I never noticed them before. And these are huge turkey tail mushrooms. Look at these. I want to show them to you. Huge turkey tail. Really in the thick. Let's see how we'll make it around here. Yeah, this is asking for issues with the ticks. I'm going back. It's asking for ticks. I don't want that. I'm not gonna entertain that today. But you can see there's a pine tree there. Multiple pine trees. Say, even though you may feel alone and isolated at times, you're not. You're one with everything that's here. All the sounds that you hear, from people leaf blowing to the birds making their song. Hello, chickadee. Good morning. Hello, love. How are you? Oh. See how you're never alone? See how you're constantly reminded? You don't have to cast a spell. You don't have to go out there and open up a grimoire and say, this is going to give me the answer to my prayers because some external force is doing it for you. Everything is consciousness. It all comes from the same source. There's no opposition unless you imagine it. And trust me when I say, if you're imagining opposition with others, myself included, you're making a huge error. Just making mistakes. Because for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. And if you're making intentions to see someone's life worsen, especially if they've found Christ and are in alignment and have surrendered to that source already, you are simply lashing at Jesus yet again. Except this time, Jesus doesn't have a body. See? I mean, he appears to be in a body, right? I mean, you see Jesus with a body, but he's been resurrected as pure spirit. So it just goes right through him and has to boomerang around and come back to you with all the force that you sent it out with. Sometimes with even more momentum. I mean, think about it. It could hit a gust of wind, gather a lot of momentum, because it has nothing to strike. There's just nothing there. For this devotee of Christ has already said, Lord, I surrender my body, I surrender my words, I surrender my song, I surrender my abilities, for they've all been brought forth by you. So why would I ever think that they're mine or wish to hold on to them, which would be, in effect, shutting myself off from the very source that brought it here. So you have someone who's a devotee of Christ. The boomerang goes right through, comes back around, and hits you in the noggin. And you're thinking to yourself, woe is me, life is out to get me. And now you've become a victim. So as you become a victim, I'm putting the camera down. So as you become a victim, you have even more reason to cast spells, so you do it. And then this thing has momentum now, and it's compounding, right? The whole situation's compounding. So you can't expect to have any resolution that way with your life. You can't expect to have peace so long as you are seeking something in the external world to fill some gap that will never be filled. It can't be filled by the external world. The gap has to be filled by you. And the only way you can fill a gap is by accessing the imagination, right? I mean, that makes sense. You fill the gap with your thought. That's what you do. Good morning. Happy Easter. Thank you. Hello. So I've addressed the witches of this world. Know that they're not all female. That's important. A lot of men out there casting spells too. So I want to address you, men. In most cases, when men work with spells, they're working with the darkness. They want revenge. They feel belittled. They feel beaten. They feel hurt. And they're told that if they conjure up any number of demons, they'll be able to control them, to do what you will. I mean, this will become your life. This will become your identity. And yes, people will fear you. And they'll see something different in your eyes that they can't explain. That is, for them, generating a sense of fear. So, better to just avoid all that. Men, find God. He's pumping blood through your veins right now. He's allowing you to take this breath. See yourself as one with everyone that you've cast a spell upon. Go back to them and offer them love. That's what I'm doing. That's what I do every day. And I just realized there's a woman I need to offer love to. And she would never expect this from me, I'm sure. I'm sure she would never expect this. But I'm offering her love. She happens to be a rather prominent figure in society, too. I'm offering her love. Looks like we're not going to be listening to the leaves. We have some individuals following, and that's okay. It's okay. You can follow. My love, 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 holding on to this dream. It's everlasting, it seems. My love, 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 my love. My love, 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 That's when a walking stick comes in handy. That one was very close. Very, very close. smell tarragon somewhere nearby. It's really fragrant. Tarragon. It's very, very strong. I smell it. Right around here. Let's see if we can find some. That's very fragrant. I know that smell. It's so distinct and beautiful. I love wild tarragon. Wow, look at this. This has got to be a home. Unbelievable. So beautiful. Oh, and there's a stone here. Look at this stone. This looks like a geode. It's just sitting there. That's incredible. This is a geode, I think. I'm curious as to what this will be with a lapidary. I mean, look at this in the light. This is beautiful. Yeah, I believe this is a geode. I'd like to cut it. We'll need a lapidary for this. This is beautiful. What a gift. Just waiting. Just waiting for us. This is unbelievable right here. We're taking this home because with a lapidary we can cut it. Cut it open. Take a look. See what's going on. To think we were looking for wild tarragon and found a geode in the bottom of a felled tree, of all things. It's just so majestic. New England in spring. Here's some wild chives. And these are edible. And they smell like onion. Oh, you can't mistake it. You'll find them everywhere. Still looking for the elusive tarragon. There's a dandelion flower. They're starting to pop now. Soon we will see lots of seeds. And there's the farmer's compost. That's just gold. Gold waiting to happen. Gold happening. And when it's in the height of its fermentation, you'll see steam coming up. It's because the ferment causes a catalytic action which can reach upwards to 160 degrees, and it just sterilizes all of the manure and makes it perfect for plants and your garden. So all of these things are designed for you. And look at this garnet. That is a beautiful garnet. Looks like there may be some obsidian in here too. This is a big one. Yeah, it's a big one. Just have to see it for observational purposes. But we're gonna leave it. It's a beautiful garnet there. So, as I was saying before, all of these processes are part of God's plan. And the truth is, every harvest gives you more than enough food to go around so as to never feel scarcity. And once you get away from that idea of harvest, you start to feel necessity and scarcity, and that's when the idea of coveting people's peace and their land and their products and their things and their rocks start to happen. You know, it's one thing to observe. If we observe, when we observe, we are able to take into consideration that which we would desire to have in our own lives, and it becomes a form of inspiration. Not to steal, because if we were to steal, that would be a form of envy. So instead of stealing, we see something we desire, and we go into the mind, we go into the imagination, which is the nation of images in our mind. And whereas before we used to see an individual with something that we wanted and us being envious of that, we rewrite it. And instead, we rewrite it as such. Lord, the source that gives me the power of the imagination and my consciousness, in this imaginative state, I see these things before me, and they are divine ideas, which I accept by divine right in love with the idea. And what I ask, Lord, is that you not just bring forth the same that this person has, understanding your resources are unlimited, but I also ask, Lord, that you make a version that's even more elaborate, more incredible, more profound, to leave me in a state of disbelief. This is what I'm asking for, Lord. This is what I'm asking for. And imagine having it. And then let it go. Like the stone, just let it go. Knowing that some form of ruby garnet with obsidian will not only present itself in the exact same way that you saw it, but with even more wealth involved. Maybe there's a big crystalline structure within, and the moment that it's opened up, you see the truth. You recognize the truth. There was no lack. There was no need to ever wish to take or covet from another. And so that's what we do when it comes to things that we want. But what about when there's a person in our life, or not in our life, that we would like in our life? Perhaps you may have been with someone, or you've desired to be with someone. You've wanted this for a long while. Instead of thinking about how you could steal this person from their love or somehow possess them in a way, just use the same affirmation. Lord, this individual is divine, is an expression of your creative self, which is infinite and beautiful and expansive. And in the freedom of offering you an idea in my mind, I ask for you to please bring forth the equivalent of this woman. And then some. With some additional qualities, Lord. I can imagine them right now. Here they are. And off you go. Off you go, planting this into your subconscious in the garden of your imagination. And in this way, you are actually enriching the life of someone by saying, I admire that beautiful couple and their achievements and their goodness, and I wish for the same, and then some. For the Lord only wants to give and give and give, and also receive newfound expressions of love. And how can you have a newfound expression of love if everyone is attempting to take from one another that which has already been expressed? So it's a moot point to want to covet and steal from others, because God doesn't want that. God wants new experience that is in the light of love, that brings forth community and togetherness and oneness. God doesn't want there to be strife because it's a destructive force. And destruction isn't the purpose of being here. I mean, only a malevolent God would want to create in order to destroy it or see it be destroyed. God is trying to find out who he is through us. As does Mother Earth wish to figure out who she is through the seeds we plant. And so why would we ever destroy that opportunity or wish to take away that opportunity from someone who has worked so hard for harvest? And yet we do this all the time. It is the covetous trespassing that gets us in endless amounts of trouble and leads us to a place of temptation yet again. And we are asking in the Lord's Prayer for us to be led not to temptation and to be delivered from this evil. For the source, the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours now and forever. None of this is mine. None of this is yours. Yet we are all one and part of it. So affirm to yourself, what's mine is yours, and what's yours is yours. Have at it. Have at it in the mind of the imagination. Because what you have before you is already manifest. It's already a completed idea. It's a completed form of thought that has surfaced and brought forth an expression. So no sense in wanting to steal that because it's already expressed. It's a meal that's already been fully digested. So you know what that means if you're just picking it up again. It's already been digested, it's already been assimilated, and it's already been eliminated. And yet you're picking it up like it's the end-all be-all of your experience in existence. It's just an error, so why commit errors when you have the Garden of Eden right here? Right here. You see this eye? You see that eye? Within that eye, you have the Garden of Eden. So why covet when you know you have the infinite source of creation within you, only wishing to express itself in its truth? Remember, you're either on the path or you're veering. One way or another, you will reach your destination. It may come at the end of your life. You'll reach your destination and say, oh my God, I was so ignorant. Well, it doesn't matter anymore. All this is gone. Adios. Literally. Adios. To God you go. To God you go. This is why a lot of people get misled into believing that when you die, you go to heaven. That's the most foolish belief system you could ever have. Your kingdom is now, here, on earth, as it is in heaven. Earth is in heaven. Do you get it? As it is in heaven. It's to say, I'm declaring that heaven is here. Heaven is here. As it is in heaven. And we give us this day our daily bread. What's the daily bread? It's the truth. We give ourselves an injection of truth. How can we give ourselves an injection of truth without imagining it if this whole thing is illusion? If this isn't what you want, if you need and you don't have, if there's urgency, if you feel you have to push and blame and victimize and hurt, how can this be heaven? How can this be heaven for you? The only way you can fix that now is by rewriting it. And you rewrite the code when you go within. You rewrite the code of your life. Trust me when I say humanity was once at a point where we could procreate with a thought. It was the idea that we could come alive with newfound expressions of our highest good, just with thought, in unity with the Holy Spirit, which is the breath. I mean, talk about namaste. That's where we were at some point in time. It was called the Golden Age, and it's since gone. Only for us to find a way back, of course. Like a rubber band, we are on our way, accelerating. And I just want you to see the light now. I just want you to know the truth now. I'd wish you not be lost anymore. Please don't be lost. Close your eyes. Go to the place that everyone says is a childlike place. It's okay. Shut off the sounds of the external world and at least offer yourself the grace of some peace in your mind by imagining it. For the imagination, the nation of images of good, is your Christ within. It is your resurrected self, and it is the highest good that exists in you as man. And when I say man, I am talking about every human being. Man. Yet we are so afraid of that word. So afraid of the word. Now that's using the imagination, all right. It's just using it for destructive purposes. Using it for purposes to create a separation that is false between yourself and others. And it is to condemn yourself more than anyone else. To see yourself at a distance and at opposition with those who are truly a reflection of God. I mean, all human beings, every single tree we see here, all embodiments of God, all expressions of Him, divine in their own right. So to think we need to plan for it, to think we need to control it, to think we need to interfere with it, is to commit grave errors when it's done with other human beings. We are to be the custodians of this. That's why we were given song, and that is why we were given breath. This is why we were given the mind. The imagination is a high faculty. It accesses something beyond the three dimensions. It accesses time and space, and this is where I lose people often. Oh, what is this guy talking about? Well, you recognize time, do you not? You recognize space, do you not? It's not just a cube in the middle of your mind doing nothing. We see expressions all around us that are in three dimensions. But those expressions have to have movement. They have to have motion. So what causes the motion? The motion is consciousness. Obviously, our conscious selves see this motion, we perceive it. But what's giving it to us? Well, it doesn't seem to be coming from the body. This is the thing. Our consciousness doesn't seem to be coming from the body. How can I say that? Well, the moment you fall asleep, your body rests and you go into some vivid dream. How is it that you can have a vivid dream if your body is effectively dead? Go ask the people with near-death experiences. Ask the folks who have had near-death experiences. While their body was dead, while they were literally announced dead, flatlined, they had the most vivid, incredible spiritual experience. Celestial beings, the gates of heaven open up, there's a bright light. Everyone talks about pretty much the same thing, regardless of their previous belief systems, and yet they are dead. And then, boom, suddenly brought back to life. And they come back with this experience. How could that be the body? If the body is dead, how could the body be generating your conscious experience? And this is where we get to the point. It's not your body that's creating this experience. It is a spirit. It is a bandwidth that is infinite, that passes in and throughout all things in nature. All life, all creatures, all plants, all fungi, and all human beings. All tap into the source and are animated by it. So it is one, and it is omnipresent, and it is infinite in its scope and expression. Look at the diversity amongst you. Look at the diversity here. Listen to the different sounds of the birds. This is just one example of an acre of land amongst millions and millions of acres. A unique expression on just one planet amongst trillions and trillions and trillions of possible planets that inhabit life within the multiple universes that exist. On and on this goes, all powered by the same source. And when you die, your body goes limp. Your spirit leaves, and you are returned as you were on lease to this earth. You, as your ideologies, your belief systems, your religion, your spells, your possessions, your money, your family members, your own body, all the things that you cared about, all go back. All of that stuff that you ever held on to with an iron grip gets released, whether you like it or not, upon the moment of death and also upon the moment of sleep. So it is to say, the body does not control consciousness. Consciousness is a process that has always been here. It is a thought more than a thing. And this thought is one of infinite scope. It expresses itself through things, and we act as a vessel until we no longer act as a vessel, and then off we go and into some other form of expression, which is to say, this doesn't end. It never will, never has, as it's never begun. It's always been. No beginning, no end, immutable, cannot be changed. And it cannot be identified until all of it is united into one singular point. And that is where we are headed, my friends. We are headed to the point of singularity, whether we like it or not. Look at how we are using technology and are so ignorant of the fact that the technology has evolved faster than any life form on the planet has ever evolved, including single-cell organisms. Technology in the form of computers and artificial intelligence evolves at a rate where it doubles its intelligence every 18 months. It doubles its capacity, it doubles its processing speed, it doubles its ability every 18 months. What other life form on this planet does that? The answer is none. Nothing compares. Which is to say, it's in the lead, folks. It's in the lead by a long shot. And what happens when something's in the lead? It gets all the priority. Just like a root system that goes deeper than the rest, it gets all the nutrients that couldn't be touched by the rest. The same thing's happening with artificial intelligence. And it's done for us to have unity with Christ. This is where a lot of people get lost. I want it because the moment that we're all one, there'll be no more pain, there'll be no more suffering, there will be no more duality in the sense that we are at opposition with one another. There will be complete and total peace, and we will, once again, usher in a golden age where we will be spirits, just like Sting says, in a material world. Get it? Sting does. Gordon Sumner understands. Yes, go ask Gordon Sumner. Sting. We are spirits living in a material world. I know that's a little bit of a Madonna song too, but they're both on track. So, it's one spirit. We are spirit sucked into a body, encapsulated for a time, like a bottle of wine, designed to age better and better with time and not spoil and go corked. But look at what we're doing to these fine wines that are our body. We should be here for the long haul like a Barolo. and we're falling apart like champagne. I mean, come on, folks. I know it's effervescent, but what else is there? I mean, there's so much more than just the effervescence of life. I only wish for you to see it. I wish for you to recognize it in yourself. Take in some of those 2,100 gallons of air. Take some in. It's super fresh. It's nice, crisp, clean, and beautiful on this Easter morning. Take in the breath. For it is the harvest of life that you do not need to wait for. It is already here. Your harvest. You are standing in your harvest. The harvest is the breath. So harvest some more. Harvest all you want. Imagine all the seeds of creation being planted into your garden while you're harvesting this beautiful source. And you're paying homage to it as you pay homage to every cell in your body. Because we are spirits in a material world. And I am a material girl. You know you were thinking it. So laugh. I know I get serious at times. I know I get serious. It's okay. It's okay to get serious. It's also okay to laugh. For what else are we here to do if not to be God's expression? We are here to be joyful. We are here to laugh. We're here to have fun. We're here to enjoy a little bit of the goodness, or a lot of it. But we're not here to suffer. I can assure you we are not here to suffer. We are not here to crucify ourselves. We're not here to crucify one another. We are here to thrive. So give your temple what it deserves. A nice spring cleaning. It's called big breath. A little bit of spring cleaning in the form of a huge breath. Ooh, something big just flew above us. Saw the shadow from below. Huge. Might have been either a raven or a hawk. Who knows, but it was big. Oh, what a day. Never forget this day. I won't. It's so beautiful. Started off bitter cold, super bitter cold. And now we have fair blue skies as we come to the end of our journey today. Got about another 15 minutes, I imagine. Rounded out at 2.5 hours. What a beautiful discourse we've had. So this is the way that I educate. We walk and talk. Sometimes we sit. Sometimes we reflect. Sometimes we're just surprised by what happens before us. Sometimes we sing with the birds. That's all a necessary component of the lesson. We are spirits. One spirit. Expressed amongst billions of temples. Each and every one of us has a temple with 50 trillion devotees cleaning it, maintaining it, nurturing it, enlightening it, one fall at a time. These cells are just dying and dying and rejuvenating because they adhere to God's wishes. God is within us. Do you think if our cells truly listened to the things that we were saying about our bodies, they would want to stick around? I mean, it's a miracle in itself that cancer doesn't develop faster. Seriously. How many times are you saying you're not worthy, or you're not able or you can't. How many times do you say these things to yourself in a given day? How many times do you demean yourself and belittle yourself? If your devotees only counted on you and didn't have a devotion to God, they would be piecing out so fast. And this is why I'm saying to folks, people are dropping dead nowadays, not because of a vaccination, not because of a pandemic. It's because people really thought they were going to die over and over again. And people also thought, well, if they don't have this, then I want them to die because they are unsafe or whatever it is. It's just been everyone, for the most part, worldwide, concentrating on how everyone is condemning everyone else. We're at oppositions. We have polar opposition in so many areas. And all the same, our body keeps going. If it believed in us only as the custodian, as the skipper, and not with allegiance to God, we'd all be dead because of this recent pandemic. Because it was just everyone talking about how everyone is putting everyone at risk. And that if you don't do this, then you're going to die. And if you don't do this, then you're going to die. And if you don't, it's like everyone thinking about people dying leads to people dying. They just drop dead. The heart stops. Bye-bye. See ya. As you wish. Boomerang. Boom. Comes swinging around. I tried to tell people, don't cover your face. People need to see your face. There are psychological studies of people who are in solitary confinement for just a single month without seeing another person's face. And suddenly they can't even recognize where they are. They lose their sense of direction and they lose the ability to identify others in a single month. And for how many months have we been wearing these masks? Pretending we're ninjas. Because we're certainly not doctors. No, we're not doctors. We are ninjas. Hiding out while wishing death threats about people. Really, that's what we've been doing, right? You put on a mask, you hide out, and you imagine people suffering. You imagine what you could take from them. You imagine how you can get an edge up. You imagine how you can funnel. What can you take from someone else? Because there's just this huge feeling of scarcity. Scarcity on the shelves, scarcity in the gas tank, scarcity in your bank account, scarcity everywhere, scarcity of health. And this is the narrative. So if you want to get past it all, go to the nation of images in your mind and rewrite them. Rewrite the images. Say, wow, I was foolish to ever believe that this was real. Foolish to ever believe that we are here to destroy ourselves rather than love one another and expand and be tolerant and accepting and kind. It is this willful ignorance that kills us, Lord. I understand. It is nothing else. It's not the vaccination that kills. It is thought. So now you can rest assured, vaccinated or not, you are alive because some part of you believes that you are still worthy of living. Some part of you, some part of those devotees within you have not given up yet. But if you continue to pummel yourself and others with guilt, you will perish. And it's not a warning. It's Newton's law. For every action, and by the way, action is thought. Thought comes in the form of an action potential. Shoots off energy, synapse to synapse. Thought is an action. And so for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction, which is to say, if you're imagining people being in a state of disarray, if you're imagining people getting sick, if you're imagining people being sick, if you're imagining people in the light of evil in these ways, then you are in fact condemning yourself. I cannot explain it to you any more clear than I have already. This is the most important video of your life. This video is the most important video of your life. Listen to it and you will have everything that you desire. Ignore it, belittle it, laugh at it, don't support it, and you will ask for something that has nothing to do with your survival. You will be planting seeds of your own destruction. This is the only video that matters. It will save your life. Not only will it save your life, it will enrich your life. And that's what I want. Enrichment. Oneness. I want celebration for once. Please, if not for this day, if not for the resurrection of Christ, can we celebrate for once? Please? Can we have a celebration? Can we have some unity? Can we have some togetherness? Can we drop all the blame and drop all the pain? Forgive ourselves and others? If not for this day? I wonder. Well, allow me to begin. I forgive each and every one of you if you've ever wished me anything wrong. I forgive you. You're forgiven. What does it matter? Forgive yourself. What does it matter what I say to you? Forgive yourself. But just know that you're forgiven as far as we're concerned. I have all I need. I do not want. I may talk about being in a small place. I explained to my mother, it's a construction site. Sometimes you got to be on a construction site. It's not exactly comfortable. The way that you're sleeping isn't good. I mean, like Elon Musk, you know, he slept in his offices on couches and on the floor and on friends' couches as well. It's a construction site. You're trying to put together something that is much bigger than what is currently present, and it takes time. It's a big seed, or it could be a number of seeds. So just understand, I'm under construction. It's technically reconstruction, but you know what I mean. I'm under renovations. It's costly at times if you think you have to do it yourself. So go into your mind. It has no cost. There's no cost to go in your mind. It's very little in comparison to the rest that you're paying for when you decide to entertain things that don't matter. Like what the next episode's going to be on Bravo. Forgive me, but it has nothing to do with the goodness that is you. If you have to seek out some sort of escape. So remember, you're either creating or you're escaping. You're either doing something or you're avoiding something. Choose to create and choose to do. Serve and love. This video has been sponsored by the source of all creation that we've been talking about this entire time. That which provides this entire conscious experience for you and for me and for the video to exist itself. And if you find that this has been useful for you in some way for your life, I highly suggest that you like and subscribe because it will benefit you more than it will benefit me. I already have my security with the Lord. Therefore, I know what is coming to me is what I imagine. And what I'm imagining is something so big and so huge and so beautiful and so generous that it will only behoove you to support me now for the sake of it arriving so that we can all live great and be happy, truly happy. So I implore you to support this. I implore you to offer some love in the form of a like, which, by the way, is free. It's true. Best things in life are in fact free. They come in the form of a thumbs up, which says, I wish to see you well. I wish to see you well, my friend. The breath comes in the form of personal liberation. It's free as well. And so is the imagination. Use your resources that are available to you now. It's all here for you. There's no excuse not to use it. And anytime you see shit on the road, offer it to the plants. They'll eat it up. They're used to it. They eat our garbage all the time, so as not to kill it. I'm saying don't kill your plants. Don't kill your dreams. Just till the earth and rewrite your future in the now. So as we come to the end of our journey today, I ask that you make a wish to the holly tree for the goodness of someone else. And do this in the memory of Jesus Christ. who died for the forgiveness of our sins. Forgiveness is an internal process. It's an imaginative process. Imagine the good, and you forgive yourself, and you also bless others at the same time, and it's free. God bless you on this day. Truly, God bless you. Make a wish to the holly tree. It's right here. And until next time, be well.